In this video, I'm looking at the Unmatched game, Redemption Row. Hello AOS fans, Robin here, back with another unboxing for you. The good people at Coiled Spring Games have sent me a copy of Unmatched, Marvel Unmatched Redemption Row, a board game featuring Luke Cage, Moon Knight and Ghost Rider, and they don't get many more combinations that are cooler than that. I have played Unmatched, but only online. We made the Geek Dad Awards, the final 10 finalists a few years ago, or two years ago maybe, and I played the Smoke and Fog one, I think, with the Invisible Man and people like that in it, which was really good fun. And I've not played physically, but was offered the opportunity to review and look at this set, so I took it with both hands. And Pete and I are going to play the game. I'm not going to play the game in this video. We'll do another separate game where we play through it, but this is just kind of an overview of what you get in the box. It's quite a slim box, as you can see, which is quite nice. It says it's ages 14 plus, 2 to 3 players, 20 to 40 minutes. You get 95 cards, 3 characters, and 1 battlefield. Yes, it is a board game. You do get a board, which is the battlefield. And let's see if I can actually get the box open. See, that's how good I am. So we've got a little rules pamphlet. I mean, it's nearly not very complicated rules too, and that is my recollection of the game, having played it before. The rules are very simple. The best thing about the Unmatched games, you can take any one of the Unmatched characters, and as long as you've got the cards and everything for them, you can play them against one another. So the more you get, the more permutations you get, which is one of the draws, one of the things that originally drew me to the game, because it felt a little bit like Underworlds, and that was better than you can just take a warband, pit it against another warband. As long as you've got one set and a board, you can off you go and play. And that's kind of how it is here. So you could take the Invisible Man from the set I played previously and add it into with 1 or 2 of these characters and just play it. And you pick the board, whichever board you want to play with. And the special rules stay the same. So as long as you've got all the tokens and everything, you just port it all over with you. And there are a whole number of different versions of this game. There's another Marvel one which features Daredevil and possibly Elektra. I can't remember exactly who's in that set now, but that's quite cool. And then I think there's a Jurassic Park type set, and there's all sorts of things from all sorts of IPs and things across the sort of popular culture spectrum. There's no Star Wars one though, I don't think. So first thing in the box is a board of cards and dials, and they're very Fantasy Flight Game-esque, I think, these dials, but they go together to basically give you your hit points or whatever. So it looks like the Ghost Rider's got 17. Luke Cage has 30, but he has invulnerability, which makes it harder to wound. Moon Knight has 16, but also Luke Cage has one for Misty Knight, who's kind of like a sidekick. I can't 100% remember how the sidekick rules work. I think you can choose to move and use the sidekick as well as, or instead of the main character. But he's the only one who gets a sidekick in this game. In other games, there are 2 or 3 sidekicks, or sometimes none, like these characters here. I know, I actually remember there was Dracula in the game I played, and they had various kind of victims, vampiric victims. They could pop up all over the board. So here's the board. It's double-sided, although actually the board is the same. They're just slightly different for people who maybe this is the these are the starting zones of where people can start, and they have different colours on. Sorry, different colours. They do have different colours on, but they have different emblems, I think, to help people with colour impairment. They can see the different textures of things. This doesn't have them. It just has the coloured rings on the outside of the board. And I think they're the places that they can start, I think. I can't remember. The space is designed into zones, each indicated by different colours. All spaces with the same colours are part of the same zone, even if they're different parts of the battlefield. So they're the zones within which you can play. So I think you can only affect things in the same zone as you with your abilities, or most of the abilities. Zones are used to determine targets of range attacks and various card effects. So there you go. It's all coming back to me now. This set contains the same battlefield on both sides of the board. On one side, the colour spaces are filled in with different patterns, which can be especially helpful for players with vision deficiencies. The other side are empty circles, where zones are only indicated by the circle's colour. Both sides play exactly the same, so there's no difference to the side of the board. I don't know whether the other games have multiple-sided boards and whether they have different playing experiences. I don't really know. The youngest player takes first turn, I've just seen here, which is quite nice. What else have we got in the board? I'm not going to explain exactly how to play, because if Pete and I do a playthrough, we'll do that. So each of the characters gets a little miniature. So 3 miniatures here. I'll take a picture of that for you and do it close up. They are kind of sort of stylized. They're not up to got a Marvel Crisis Protocol standards. They've all been dry brushed nicely. I was going to paint these. I think I still will, but you really don't have to. They've been quite nicely textured. I'm not sure necessarily I'm going to bother doing Moon Knight. I mean, he's pretty much how he would be. I might try and highlight the white on him or something. But there you go. So I will try and paint these up. I'll tell you. I'll report back how the painting experience went. So I did go away and paint up my Unmatched minis, and as you can see, they came out pretty well. This took, I would say, less than half an hour to do all 3 of them. And it was very straightforward. I used Citadel contrast paints, which are quite thin and transparent and kind of go over surfaces and leaving highlights showing through is the idea of them. So there's literally only about 4 or 5 paints used here. Now, the first thing I did, as I said, the miniatures were grey dry brush, and they look pretty good without any paint on them. But the first thing I did was I highlighted the paint job even further, that dry brush even further, with a white dry brush on the top edges. Anything that's going to catch the light, I highlighted further with a white dry brush. And basically, for a dry brush, you just get a bit of white paint on your brush, rub most of it off, and then with the dry brush, whisk it across the top contours of the figures, and it highlights the upper raised edges. But then I use contrast paints, which are available from Citadel from Games Workshop, and I guess Moon Knight was the easiest. I just used some sepia tones just to give him a slight off-white look, making him a bit sort of Egyptian bandagey, I suppose. Luke Cage I actually messed up slightly, but Citadel, since I painted them, actually have brought out much better yellows. The yellow I bought came out very brown, and I accidentally put 2 coats on, and it just didn't look very good at all. So that yellow actually is not a contrast paint, it's just a standard yellow model hobby paint. But everything else is contrast paint. It was really good fun to blend with the yellows and the oranges to make the flames. They come out a little bit darker than I might otherwise have liked, but I think it looked pretty good. Makes Ghost Rider look pretty sinister. And as I said, that was literally half an hour's work for all of them. And there is, I must say, there is a little bit of metallic for the power rings on Luke Cage. There, I did use some silver and then just over highlighted it with a bit of with a brown tone contrast paint, just to give a bit of gold effect. And that's it. So there you go. They were very easy to paint, and I think they look okay. Obviously, I'm never going to win any competitions with those, but they come up nicely, and they make the game look really great on the tabletop. They're quite nice miniatures. Another draw of the game. It's quick and easy miniatures for you, and they're quite nice. I mean, it would also be fun to get if you've got the relevant Marvel Crisis Protocol miniatures to play. Although I think the old Ghost Rider might be rather too big to do that. But in here you've got the pegs for holding the dials together. There's a special hard plastic, I think it is, token for Misty Knight, and then each fighter gets his own deck of cards which you draw through, and they give you abilities on what you can do, and you can discard cards to move further and things like that. So that is, so each there's 3 decks of cards for each of those. There's a nice little inlay. It's got Ghost Rider, Luke Cage, Moon Knight on there, and so you can explain whose bits go where. You can probably work that out. It's not really essential, but it's just nice to have. So the board is very simple. The game is very simple. There's not much in there. But we'll play a game for you and report back. Maybe, because this has been very short and there's not much in the box, maybe we'll append it to this, or maybe it'll be an entirely separate video. That's all in the future, so I don't know what's going to happen yet. I shall have to talk to Pete. So that's it. That is Redemption Row, the Marvel Unmatched Redemption Row game. It's a nice, simple unboxing. There's not much in the term of components in the box, but the gameplay is quite deep. I think I've played the one. It was quite a lot going on, but yeah, it's still fairly simple to pick up and play. Just one of those games that evolves the more you play it, and obviously you can throw a couple of sets in, and you multiply your possibilities. So that's it. We'll report back on how we got on with the game, and we'll see you soon on the Ages of Sigmar. Bye.